You're doing everything right. Vision boards, affirmations, gratitude practices, but still the money isn't coming, the relationship still hasn't appeared, and the harder you try, the more frustrated you feel. There's one thing you don't know you're doing wrong, and it's sabotaging everything. Keep watching, and I'll reveal exactly what it is and the very simple thing you can do to remedy it. The first step is to understand that your thoughts are just mental habits, not reality. They're not instructions you have to follow. Have you ever known anyone who bites their nails? Often they'll do it without even realizing they're chewing away at their fingertips. Your mind behaves like that. Thinking the same old thoughts is just a thing it does, often without any conscious intention or awareness. When you notice yourself worrying about a bill or doubting whether you'll ever find love, that's the mental equivalent of biting your nails. The power isn't in stopping the thoughts or desperately trying to replace a negative one with a positive one. That's just more striving, more trying to feel a certain way. The power is in the simple, instant act of noticing. The moment you catch yourself having thoughts like, this will never work, I'm never going to be enough, what if I fail? You've already created a separation from it. You don't have to believe it or follow it down a rabbit hole of anxiety. It's just a thought, as meaningless and immaterial as yesterday's newspaper headlines. It's background noise. This noticing creates a quiet space, and in that space, something profound happens. You get a taste of the very feeling you were trying so hard to get from the outside. Let me give you an example. In fact, if there's something you're trying to manifest right now, you can try this as an experiment. For the sake of the example, I'm going to say it's money you want. Here's the experiment. Ask yourself this one simple question. If I had the money right now, how would that make me feel? Now, because this is a video, I can't hear your answer, but you can fill in the blank for yourself. I'm going to imagine that the answer is, I'd feel secure, safe. Okay, you were trying to manifest money to feel secure. You imagine, because that's what visualizing is, imagining a future that doesn't yet exist, that if you had a certain amount of money, you'd feel secure. And yet, we all know that money doesn't cause security. I once heard about a man whose net worth was north of $600 million, yet he hired a coach because he lost sleep every night worrying that he'd lose it all. Suppose what you want to manifest is a relationship, to be in love. Try the question. If I was in a relationship right now, how would that make me feel? And I'm going to imagine that the answer that comes to you is, I'd feel whole, complete. I'm aware that there could have been many other answers, but it's just an example, okay? I've been very happily married since 2006, but I had 2 failed marriages before then and a number of often short-lived relationships in between. Between 2001, after my second marriage came to an end, and 2006, when I met and married my life partner, I lived on my own, and I came to realize something very important. It was the idea that my partner would somehow complete me that was the cause of all my relationship problems. That belief made me needy, and it also drew needy people to me. 2 half-empty people trying to get the other to make them feel fulfilled literally is a recipe for emotional disaster. I've run whole workshops on this, but for the sake of time, I can't go into depth in this video. That 5 years on my own was the making of me. By the time I met my third and final wife, I felt good about myself. I liked me. Not in an arrogant way, but in a confident way. Not that I'm better than other human beings, we're all different. And I'd come to see that being self-critical was as daft as saying that one sunset is better than another. The woman who became my wife also has a sense of being comfortable in her own skin. 2 people who are happy with themselves and life is a recipe for fun and adventure, which nearly 20 years on, we're still having. The moment you notice an anxious thought about money and see it as just a thought, you create the space for relief to come. not necessarily in the form of money. For me, it came in the form of ideas about what I could say to my creditors at the time. Those ideas bought me time, and as a result, I had immediate relief. That is security, knowing that a way will be found because there always is one. Your conscious mind can't do that because it keeps going round the same circles, looking for solutions where you already know there isn't one. You were trying to manifest a relationship to feel whole, but the moment you notice the lonely thought and let it drift by, you understand something profound. You're not lonely. You're having thoughts about loneliness that you're latching onto. There are plenty of people who live alone and love it. Now that loneliness doesn't define you anymore, new ideas can occur to you. It doesn't necessarily mean you don't want a relationship anymore, although it might, but you can accept the moment. This is living in the now. And then new things will occur to you. It occurred to me, for example, that I could try enjoying my own company. I spent 5 very happy years as a bachelor. This isn't another technique to master. It's the opposite. It's the realization that you were never broken to begin with and that the feelings you seek are not dependent on external circumstances. They are the natural state that emerges when you stop throttling it with mental noise. You're just noticing a habit, and that awareness alone is enough to loosen its grip and instantly reveal the peace that was there all along. So, what does doing nothing actually look like in practice once you understand that the real manifestation is this internal shift? It means you notice the thought storm and you simply don't engage. With money, you might notice the panic about a bill. Instead of spiraling into anxiety or frantically searching for a solution, you just see the thought. You note it. Ah, there's that worry about security again, and you let it drift by like a cloud. You don't try to solve the feeling of insecurity by getting money. You trust that a deeper intelligence is handling the how, and you allow yourself to feel the security that comes from not fighting the thought. This is the single shift. From trying to control an external outcome to get a feeling, to noticing your attempt to control and instantly accessing the feeling through that release. This shift dismantles the illusion that you are the sole manager of the universe who must micromanage every detail of your life to work. The universe doesn't need your foot on the accelerator. In fact, your foot on the accelerator is what's creating the resistance. I remember when I was struggling financially after a business venture failed. I was desperately trying to manifest money, but what I really wanted was to feel okay, to feel like I wasn't a failure. The moment I genuinely let go when I saw my frantic planning and anxiety as just a mental habit, the feeling of relief was instant. It was the security I'd been chasing. And from that quiet space, as I said, a practical idea occurred to me. Call my main creditor and negotiate a payment plan. It wasn't a stressful, forced action. It was a clear, calm nudge. The solution came from a place of quiet intuition, not frantic effort. The same thing happened after my second marriage ended. I gave up trying to find love to feel complete. Instantly, I felt a sense of wholeness on my own. That led to 5 enjoyable years as a bachelor before meeting my life partner entirely effortlessly. The manifestation of the external thing followed the manifestation of the internal state. If this makes sense to you and you want to see how this applies directly to allowing money to flow into your life, by first allowing the feeling of security to flow in, I created a free masterclass called Effortless Money Manifesting. It's under 10 minutes and walks you through this exact principle. The link is in the description and there's a QR code on screen if you prefer to scan. Now you might be thinking, if I stop trying, won't I lose all my momentum? Won't everything just fall apart? That's a very common and understandable doubt. But here's the truth. That very thought is another attempt to control the outcome. It's the mind's way of insisting it's still in the driver's seat, afraid that if it lets go of the wheel, the car will crash. The beautiful paradox is that striving is actually what blocks your real momentum. Real momentum isn't generated by your effort. It comes from a state of alignment, from that internal feeling of peace and security we just talked about. It's like a river. It has its own natural flow and direction. You don't need to swim frantically upstream. You just need to stop fighting the current and let it carry you. The universe doesn't need your foot on the accelerator. In fact, your foot on the accelerator is what's creating the resistance. This isn't about achieving perfect, permanent silence in your mind. It's about gently returning to that place of noticing again and again, without any judgment, when you get caught up in the story. There's no perfection required, just a gentle, compassionate awareness. When the doubt arises, is this really working? You simply notice that too. It's just another thought, another mental habit, trying to reassert control. Each time you notice it and let it be, you reinforce the new effortless momentum of allowing. So what can you actually expect when you start practicing this? The first thing you'll notice, almost instantly, is a profound sense of peace. The mental chatter might still be there, but you're no longer entangled in it. That feeling of constant low-grade anxiety begins to dissolve because you're not fueling it with your belief and attention. This peace is the foundation. It's the very thing you were trying to manifest through external means. You've manifested it internally, and that's the real win. From that quieter space, you'll start to experience what I call inner nudges. These aren't loud, commanding orders from the universe. They're gentle inclinations. A quiet thought to call someone, an unexpected idea that pops into your head while you're showering, a sudden knowing about a decision that previously felt paralyzing. These are the signals from that deeper intelligence, and they become audible when you turn down the volume of your own striving. Opportunities will begin to present themselves in ways that feel almost synchronous. You might stumble upon the exact resource you need or meet the right person at the perfect time. You'll likely find new energy and creativity emerging organically because you're no longer draining it with mental struggle. I suggest you try this as a 1-week experiment. Don't watch for a specific financial outcome or a particular person to call. Just watch for the inner shift. Watch for the peace, the clarity, and the gentle guidance. That is the real transformation. The tangible outcomes are the natural byproduct, but the shift in your internal state is the immediate, instant manifestation. And if you want to apply this specifically to money, to really let go of the financial struggle and allow the feeling of security to arise first, that's exactly what I teach in my free Effortless Money Manifesting Masterclass. It's under 10 minutes, and the link is in the description below, and here's the QR code again. This isn't a technique you do. It's a new way of being. It's living in a flow state where life feels lighter, more intuitive, and far more graceful. You begin to move through your days not with force, but with ease. The sparkle returns to your eyes because the weight of the world is no longer on your shoulders. You realize you're not the source of all solutions. You are the recipient of a limitless intelligence that is always guiding you. That wisdom is available to you 24/7 for as long as you live, and it's available instantly. All you need to do is shut out all the mental chatter, and you can do that in a heartbeat by simply noticing that it is mental chatter. All that's required is to get out of your own way. Trust this process. Trust that quiet space you're learning to access. You were never broken, and your life doesn't need to be fixed. You just needed to remember how to stop trying so hard. For a deeper dive into making this your new normal, especially with money, check out my free Effortless Money Manifesting Masterclass. Tell me in the comments which part of this truth landed for you most today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon in another video.